Today we're here in the exhibit area of the museum, and I'm standing right in front of jaguar exhibit. These jaguars were acquired very close to the U.S.-Mexico border many years ago. In fact, that is pretty close to the northernmost range of the jaguar. Jaguars, as you can see, have very powerful, large heads. When we move around for you to see the male on the other side, you'll even see that, emphasized more strongly. They can tolerate a lot of habitats. The type of habitat they like the best is kind of a thick forest. Most of their distribution is in Amazonia, so near the Amazon River. They can tolerate much less forest. In this particular exhibit, this is probably a less popular sort of habitat for them, but because it's more arid, they're feeding on an iguana. The mother's caught an iguana and the young are feeding on an iguana, but they do tend to eat larger prey like deer, peccaries, that size animal, but they will eat smaller things as well. One thing that's really important to them for their habitat is they like to be around water. They can climb trees, but they don't do it too much. They like to swim. They're good swimmers, which seems kind of unusual because we always think of cats as not liking water very much. But, the Amazon River basin is really ideal for them. Wherever there's water, they fit in really well. One thing that's kind of interesting about the way they did this exhibit is the only time that females and males are together is during mating season. Otherwise, they don't have anything to do with each other. So it's kind of interesting the way they depicted that in this exhibit is that the male and female have their backs to each other. They're really not supposed to be together. He's not a part of the family now that the young are born or anything like that. But it's nice to be able to see the contrast in size between males and females, and also just to see what the fur looks like when they're young and how it develops into these beautiful rosette patterns that are so familiar to people who know jaguars. In contrast to the jaguar, we also have an exhibit that involves a much different member of the cat family. These guys aren't fast, the jaguars aren't fast, but the cheetah is possibly the fastest mammal anywhere. It can run at very fast speeds, and it usually goes after prey like the Grant's gazelle in this exhibit. You can see a lot of difference between the jaguars with the big heads and powerful muscular bodies and the much slimmer cheetah with the very small head, a long tail, which really helps. Tails always help animals with balance. We always have a place in mind when we decide to do a diorama. And this one kind of gives itself away because in the background, Mount Kenya is painted to show you you're in Africa, and everything about the exhibit is based on that location. So we make sure that the vegetation is typical of the area. So a lot of things are fabricated, they look like the real thing, like the rocks here. But the plants, a thing that's very interesting about that is the way we depict them is so different now. In the earliest days, they made the plants out of wax impressions and painted them to match. And nowadays, we're really using the real thing and drawing them and doing other types of things to always make them look fresh rather than something that's drying out over time.